In 1918, the war to end all wars was over. During World War I, the city had boomed, turning out tires by the tens of thousands, barrage balloons, gas masks, and other materiel for the Army and Navy. Even at the age of 38, undaunted by those who said he was too old, attorney Edwin Brouse left his law practice in 1918 to enlist as a private in the Army. C. Blake McDowell passed the bar before the war began and volunteered to serve in the Army. To celebrate the lasting peace, Akron had 2 parades to commemorate the armistice. After the parades were over, on a day in December 1918, Edwin Brouse and Blake McDowell met on South Main Street in the middle of a downtown that was booming with commerce, with crowds of shoppers and throngs of rubber workers enjoying the prosperity that the war had brought to Akron. They made a handshake deal that day to organize a new law firm that would serve the community as well as Akron's business interests. On January 9, 1919, the law firm of Brouse McDowell was born.
What a remarkable achievement it is for any law firm to be 100 years old.
You are very cognizant of the fact that you are part of Brouse McDowell, that means something.
They are the most principled, most skilled, most collegial lawyers I could ever have expected to practice law with.
We are truly a family.
We make that effort to know each other, to be friends, to work well together.
The name Brouse, the name McDowell mean a lot, and they're up there watching.
In 1918, Akron, Ohio was in the midst of a population boom. The rubber shops employed more than 20,000 men, and hundreds of men were arriving daily. Acrid rubber smoke mixed with the scent of simmering vats of cereal right in the middle of downtown Akron, where Quaker puffed wheat and rice. Edwin Brouse had a law office in the Permanent Savings and Loan Building.
Mr. Brouse, he never took his coat off. He was very prim and proper. He was an old-time lawyer, the kind that you really loved and respected.
Brouse had Akron roots that went back to the construction of the Ohio and Erie Canal. He practiced law with Amos Engelbeck, whom everyone called Tiny.
He was huge, and he'd come to the door and hang on the frame and talk to you.
Brouse, Engelbeck, and McDowell moved their offices into the Hamilton Building at the corner of Main and Mill Streets, home to the Central Savings and Trust Company. C. Blake McDowell was married to the daughter of the bank's president.
He had a wonderful mind. He could look at a complicated balance sheet or a P&L, and he could go back to the office and reconstruct it.
The 3 men would be joined by a senior lawyer, Alexander Hamilton Cummins, who had distinguished himself in the representation of industrial titan O.C. Barber, among others. Soon the 4 men would be joined by Bruce Scotty Bierce, who played football on Jim Thorpe's Canton Bulldogs team. In 1929, the Central Trust Bank demolished its office building and started building a new tower. It would be 28 stories tall to satisfy Harvey Firestone, who wanted to be able to see his bank from his South Akron factory. The law firm settled on the 8th floor of the first building to be constructed, later moving to the 22nd floor upon its completion in 1930, and the tower of the Central Trust, later the First National Bank of Akron, would be the firm's headquarters for the next 73 years.
Well, I like to think that a Brouse lawyer is one who is highly competent. Not just competent, but highly skilled and able to serve their clients well. I think there is a unique culture at Brouse McDowell We really are a firm. We work together. We work in teams.
We are collaborative at every level. We have the right amount of lawyers to do good work, to do quality work in an environment that, I think keeps our clients happy and keeps the lawyers happy here.
Everybody's treated as a family member. They look out for the support staff, and we truly feel that they have our best interests at heart. I think that is what makes Brouse McDowell different than most firms.
Over its 100 years, the firm has had 11 names through the acquisition of partners and mergers with other law firms. For the last 20 years, it has been Brouse McDowell. The firm opened its offices in Cleveland in 1998 and a new office serving business clients in Youngstown in 2016. After 7 decades in the Tower Building, Brouse McDowell relocated to part of the old B.F. Goodrich manufacturing complex in 2003, adaptively transformed into Class A offices. Unchanged from its founding are the firm's standards. The practice of law, however, is unrecognizable from decades past.
You went into a law office, you saw lawyers sitting at their desk, writing on a legal pad, probably a stack of books over in the corner of the desk, and maybe dictating to a secretary. Now that same lawyer or lawyers are sitting faced away from their desk looking at a monitor, maybe using voice recognition technology and having vastly greater resources than we ever could have imagined back then.
The client is really the focus of all of our efforts.
You care about doing a good job for your client, and so you think about them in ways that may not necessarily be directly related to a particular legal problem, but ways that can help them thrive in the community at large. That mindset, I think, is, in my observation, unique with Brouse lawyers.
Over the last century, Brouse McDowell has been closely identified with clients that have been legacy industries that have made Akron's history. Important to the firm's reputation are the many contributions made to the community at large. The McDowell name is reflected at an Akron library, a hospital cancer center, a museum gallery, and the University of Akron's School of Law. Brouse McDowell lawyers have been part of the success of virtually every major Akron charitable, civic, cultural, and economic institution.
I actually practiced at Brouse McDowell with one of the founding partners of the firm. That means that if you're someone, as I am, who practiced with Blake Sr., or if you're simply a lawyer at the firm who practices with me, there are only 1 or 2 degrees of separation between you and the founding of the firm.
It does mean something to be part of the firm, and that firm has a history, a culture, and a reputation that you feel compelled to maintain.
I'm a part of Brouse McDowell, and I want to add to its history. It has a wonderful history before me. I hope it has a wonderful history after me. And I'm just proud of that name.